Have you ever awakened with tears streaming down your face, feeling the unmistakable presence of someone you've lost? That moment when your heart races, because for a brief instant, they were right there beside you. So vivid, so real that you could almost touch them. Friends, what if I told you that these aren't just figments of your imagination or wishful thinking? What if these profound nocturnal encounters are actually spiritual connections that transcend the boundaries between our world and theirs? Throughout human history, across countless cultures and traditions, people have reported meaningful dream encounters with loved ones who have passed on. These extraordinary experiences often leave us questioning, was that really them? Were they trying to tell me something? Has this ever happened to you? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. The ancient wisdom of spiritual traditions and the insights of mystics like Edgar Cayce suggest something profound. That during sleep, when our conscious mind surrenders control, a doorway opens. In these sacred hours of rest, our souls are free to wander beyond physical limitations. The veil between worlds thins, allowing those we've loved and lost to reach across dimensions and touch our hearts once more. These aren't ordinary dreams with their chaotic imagery and forgotten details. No, these experiences carry a distinctive signature, crystal clarity, emotional intensity, and lingering impressions that sometimes stay with us for years. Many report awakening with a sense of peace that defies explanation, as if something deep within has been healed. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. It might even transform your understanding of life, death, and what lies beyond. The connections we explore today aren't fantasies born of grief. They're revelations about the eternal nature of love and consciousness. Think about it. How many nights have you closed your eyes, silently wishing for just one more conversation, one more chance to feel their embrace? What if I told you that when you experience these profound dream encounters, you aren't merely remembering them, they are remembering you? The spiritual world speaks to us in whispers, in symbols, in emotional landscapes that words struggle to capture. During these precious moments when our defenses are lowered, those who continue to love us from beyond physical existence find pathways to remind us they're never truly gone. As we move forward today, I invite you to open not just your mind, but your heart, for that is where these messages are truly received. The science of consciousness may still be catching up, but millions around the world have experienced these profound connections that defy conventional explanation. If these insights about dream connections have resonated with you, subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the spiritual dimensions of life. Each video is designed to illuminate the sacred mysteries that connect us across realms. These encounters are like invisible letters written with light, delivered directly to our consciousness when we're most receptive. Some dreams arrive as gentle messengers of consolation, wrapping around our grief-stricken hearts like a warm embrace. Others come as farewell visits, offering closure and the precious gift of knowing our loved ones have found peace. And some arrive bearing warnings or guidance, illuminating paths we might otherwise overlook in our waking hours. But regardless of their specific purpose, they all carry one profound truth: the indisputable certainty that death is merely a threshold, not an ending. What love has sealed in the spirit, no physical transition can destroy. The remarkable Edgar Cayce, through his lifelong spiritual journey and countless documented cases, revealed something that resonates deeply with those who've experienced these profound dream encounters. With both tenderness and unwavering conviction, he affirmed that these dreams are not wishful thinking or psychological coping mechanisms. They are authentic spiritual reunions that occur under specific circumstances. These reunions happen when there is permission from higher spiritual realms, and crucially, when the bond of affection between souls remains alive and vibrant. Think about the profound implications of this revelation. The connections we forge throughout our lives don't dissolve when someone crosses over. They simply transform, operating on frequencies our waking consciousness often cannot detect. This understanding represents a revolutionary mindset shift for many who've been taught to move on or let go after loss. Instead, what if the journey of grief includes learning a new language of connection? What if these dream encounters are actually gateways to a hidden truth about consciousness that transcends our physical limitations? Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore the territories that many fear to approach, not out of superstition, but because they challenge our fundamental understanding of reality. These are the spaces between conventional explanations, where the greatest revelations about our existence await those brave enough to look with open hearts. The decisions we make about how to interpret these experiences can profoundly impact our healing process and our relationship with those we've lost. Do we dismiss these encounters as mere fantasy, or do we acknowledge them as meaningful connections across the veil? The transformation that comes from embracing these experiences can be life-altering, offering a profound sense of continuity and purpose, even in the face of devastating loss. Understanding what these dreams mean, recognizing why they happen, and knowing what to do when they occur, can help us navigate one of life's most challenging journeys, living with the physical absence of those we love deeply. If you've had an experience like this that left you wondering about its meaning, write in the comments, "They visited me." Let's create a space where these profound encounters can be honored and understood for what they truly are. What happens during the sacred hours of sleep goes far beyond the biological necessity for rest. Ancient wisdom traditions and contemporary spiritual explorers like Edgar Cayce have long understood that sleep represents a profound shift in consciousness, a temporary liberation of the soul. During these quiet hours, our spirit partially detaches from the confines of the physical body and begins to journey through subtle planes of existence that remain invisible to our waking awareness. This extraordinary phenomenon isn't mere fantasy or common dreaming. It's a divine design, a deliberate architecture of consciousness that allows our souls moments of liberation while still maintaining the sacred thread that connects us to our physical form. This liberation opens doorways to realms where communication transcends the limitations of physical speech and where connections defy the conventional boundaries of time and space. The breakthrough insight that Edgar Cayce shared about this process challenges everything we've been taught about grief and separation. He revealed that the intense longing we feel for those who have crossed over isn't a flaw in our healing journey or an obstacle to overcome. It's actually a bridge. This perspective represents a radical shift in mindset about the purpose of the emotions that follow loss. This longing is the living, breathing memory that love itself is eternal. When this feeling pulses intensely within our hearts, it generates a spiritual vibration that can actually open pathways for encounters that exist beyond the constraints of linear time. Your longing doesn't separate you from your loved ones. It connects you to them in ways that transcend physical reality. The revelation here is that these dream connections operate as a profound spiritual technology, allowing consciousness to communicate across dimensions. When we dream of someone who has departed, what we're experiencing isn't simply our brain recycling memories or creating comfortable fictions to ease our pain. These encounters represent something far more extraordinary, a genuine dialogue between spirits. Join our spiritual family by subscribing to the channel. Together, we'll continue exploring these profound connections between worlds, uncovering wisdom that brings comfort and understanding to your own spiritual journey. These conversations often unfold without words, communicating instead through the universal language of pure feeling and knowing. A touch in these dreams carries energetic signatures that our souls recognize instantly. A glance contains volumes of unspoken understanding. The entire encounter may last mere moments in our perception of time, yet deliver insights and healing that transform our waking lives. The impact of these experiences often resonates throughout our journey of grief, offering not just comfort, but profound revelations about the continuous nature of consciousness and relationship. They invite us to expand our understanding beyond the material perspective that dominates our culture, opening us to hidden truths about existence that have been preserved in mystical traditions throughout human history. If you've ever felt a presence so real in your dreams that you could sense their unique energy signature, that distinctive essence that made them who they were, type, "I felt their presence" in the comments. There's profound validation in knowing others have walked this path of mystical connection too. What makes these spiritual encounters so extraordinary is the profound intelligence behind them. They're not random or chaotic, but purposeful connections with distinct intentions. Some spirits visit our dreamscape to console us, wrapping our wounded hearts in the balm of their continued love. Their presence alone delivers the message, "I'm still here, I still love you." The bond remains unbroken. Others come with gentle requests for prayer or specific actions that might assist their own spiritual journey. This reveals a stunning revelation about the afterlife experience, that our relationship with them continues as a two-way connection, where we can still provide meaningful support to each other across dimensions. Perhaps most compelling are those who arrive as guardians or guides, offering warnings about paths we're considering or illuminating options we haven't seen. These dreams often carry a distinctive clarity and urgency that sets them apart from ordinary dream experiences. The uniqueness of each visitation reflects the specific blueprint of your relationship. The particular frequency of love that connected you in life continues to shape these extraordinary encounters after physical separation. Developing the sensitivity to distinguish between ordinary dreams and true spiritual reunions becomes a profound spiritual practice in itself. It requires a willingness to trust not just what the analytical mind can categorize, but what the intuitive heart recognizes as authentically real. This represents a transformation in how we process reality, expanding our awareness beyond the visible spectrum of experience. Upon waking, many people find the details begin to fade like morning mist, leaving behind only the essence of the encounter, a lingering peace that defies explanation, a renewed sense of longing, or occasionally a slight discomfort if something remains unresolved between you. This partial remembering isn't failure or fiction. It's the natural result of translating experiences from one dimension of consciousness into another. Our physical brains, masterful as they are, have limitations in processing experiences that occur beyond their neurological architecture. But the heart, that mysterious center of emotional and spiritual intelligence, recognizes and retains what is genuine. This is why the feeling of the encounter often remains crystal clear, even when the details grow fuzzy. Your heart has its own memory system, its own way of archiving what matters most. Behind the scenes of these dream reunions lies a profound spiritual principle that Edgar Cayce emphasized throughout his work. The bonds we form with others don't shatter with physical death. They simply transform. The connection itself remains alive, vibrating at another frequency beyond the material spectrum. When you dream of someone you've loved and lost, what's happening is a momentary alignment of frequencies, like tuning a radio to precisely the right station. And in that sacred alignment, true communion occurs. This understanding offers a revolutionary perspective on grief and separation. We're not disconnected from those who've crossed over. We're simply experiencing a different form of connection that requires new ways of perceiving and relating. Have you ever felt an unexplainable certainty that someone was trying to reach you through a dream? If so, write in the comments, "The veil thinned," and know that many others have experienced these profound moments of reconnection too. Not all dreams carry the same spiritual weight or significance. Our minds naturally process daily experiences, concerns, and desires through ordinary dreams, the kind that often feel fragmented, chaotic, or simply reflect the mental debris of our waking hours. These are like the background noise of consciousness, valuable in their own way, but fundamentally different from spiritual encounters. But then there are those extraordinary dreams that arrive with a distinctive energetic signature, more vivid, more intense, and remarkably clear. They stand out in the landscape of our dream experiences like a lighthouse on a foggy shore. The colors seem more vibrant, the emotions more profound, and the experience itself feels charged with meaning. These are the dreams that deserve our deepest attention, for they often contain messages, guidance, or revelations that can transform our journey through grief and our understanding of existence itself. What many don't realize is that these powerful dream reunions aren't spontaneous or random occurrences. According to the insights shared by Edgar Cayce, many of these encounters are carefully orchestrated in the spiritual world. This reveals a hidden truth about the organization and intelligence operating behind the veil that separates dimensions. In these higher realms of consciousness, spiritual mentors and guides assess both our needs and the possibilities for meaningful reunion. They consider factors invisible to us, our emotional readiness, the spiritual development of all souls involved, and the potential healing that might occur through such encounters. When they determine there is sufficient merit and balance for all concerned, they authorize and facilitate these profound meetings between souls that remain deeply connected through love. This understanding illuminates something remarkable about our spiritual journey. Even in our darkest hours of grief, unseen forces are working on our behalf, creating opportunities for healing and connection when the timing is right. There is a cosmic intelligence overseeing our path that recognizes when such reunions would serve the highest good. The preparation for these encounters isn't only happening on the other side. Our own consciousness plays a crucial role in creating the conditions for these meetings to occur. When you approach sleep with prayer and elevated thoughts, you're essentially preparing your spirit for these visits, raising your vibrational frequency to more closely align with spiritual realms. A serene heart becomes naturally more receptive to these subtle communications. It's similar to tuning a fine musical instrument. The more inner harmony you cultivate, the clearer and more beautiful the melody of the encounter becomes. This is why many spiritual traditions across human history have emphasized practices that calm the mind and open the heart before sleep. They understood this created an optimal environment for communion beyond the physical. The impact of developing such practices extends far beyond the dream state itself, creating a foundation of spiritual receptivity that transforms how we perceive and interact with all dimensions of reality. If you've noticed that your most meaningful spiritual dreams tend to come during periods when your heart feels most open and peaceful, share your experience by writing "heart wide open" in the comments below. One of the most profound revelations Edgar Cayce shared about these spiritual dream encounters challenges our perception of how the afterlife operates. He explained that often the loved ones who visit us in dreams don't make this journey alone. They're frequently accompanied by spiritual guides or protectors who carefully orchestrate the entire experience, ensuring safe passage between dimensions for all souls involved. This insight unveils a hidden truth about the cosmos, that what might appear to us as random or chaotic actually unfolds within a framework of divine providence. There exists an intricate spiritual infrastructure supporting these encounters, with everything happening according to precise spiritual laws, meticulous order, and meaningful purpose. The universe, it seems, takes great care with the reunion of souls who love each other. Behind the scenes of these experiences lies an entire ecosystem of spiritual support that most of us remain unaware of while in physical form. These guides serve as cosmic architects, creating safe spaces where souls from different dimensions can momentarily reconnect without disruption to either party's spiritual journey. Not all dream visitations manifest with the same quality or intensity. Sometimes we dream of someone who has passed, but their presence feels oddly distant, or they remain silent throughout the encounter. This experience often leaves us with mixed emotions: gratitude for the connection, yet confusion about why it lacked the warmth or clarity we longed for. Edgar Cayce offered profound insight into this common experience. These moments of distance often reflect where that spirit currently is in their own afterlife journey. They may be undergoing a period of adaptation to their new existence, healing from their transition, or moving through important spiritual learning experiences that require their focused attention. The soul's journey doesn't end with physical death. It enters new phases of growth and transformation that sometimes require periods of introspection or healing. The revelation here is that even these more distant encounters serve a purpose. Even just seeing the spirit of someone you love, regardless of their current state, provides a bridge of comfort and strength. It confirms their continued existence and the unbroken connection between you, offering a foundation of peace amid grief's turbulent waters. There exists another dimension to these dream visitations that speaks to their profound purpose. Some encounters arrive carrying specific missions. The beloved spirit appears not merely for reunion, but to deliver important information. They may bring warnings about approaching circumstances that require your attention, offer veiled guidance about decisions you're facing, or provide subtle signs meant to redirect your path. These dreams represent a sacred form of communication, a cosmic intelligence network operating beyond physical limitations. The messages rarely arrive as direct instructions, but instead come wrapped in the language of symbols, metaphors, and feelings. This is why paying careful attention to the details of these dreams, the specific words spoken, unusual objects or settings, and especially the emotional residue that remains upon waking, becomes so important. Your intuition becomes the decoder ring for these spiritual transmissions. The impact of recognizing and honoring these messages can be life-altering, sometimes even life-saving. If you've ever received what felt like an important message or warning in a dream from someone who has passed, share your experience by writing "They warned me" in the comments below. Among the most profound of these dream encounters are what many spiritual traditions recognize as farewell dreams. These are distinctive, powerful experiences where the visiting soul appears with a sense of completion, having reached a milestone in their own afterlife journey. There's a distinctive quality to these visits. The spirit emanates a palpable serenity and peace that wasn't present in earlier dream connections. These farewell dreams often follow a pattern. The departed loved one appears radiant, sometimes younger or healthier than when they left physical form. They communicate, whether through words or pure feeling, a message that essentially translates to, "I am well, I am at peace, now you must live fully." This moment represents a profound transition for both souls, a cosmic milestone in the healing journey that acknowledges both the eternal nature of your connection and the necessity of continuing your separate paths for now. These dreams aren't endings, but transformations, a shift in the relationship that honors both the unbreakable bond you share and the individual journeys you each must travel. Recognizing a farewell dream when it occurs can bring a bittersweet mixture of emotions, grief at the shift in connection, yet profound gratitude for the gift of certainty and closure it provides. Many report that after such dreams, though the pain of loss remains, the anxiety and desperate questioning about their loved one's well-being finally settles. Edgar Cayce offered a revolutionary perspective on the tears many of us shed upon waking from these powerful encounters. These aren't simply expressions of grief or sadness, as our culture often interprets them. Rather, they represent something far more sacred and powerful. They are the physical manifestation of pure longing, which itself serves as a mystical bridge between worlds. This understanding illuminates the hidden purpose behind what we've been taught to view as merely emotional responses. Your tears, those sacred drops of emotion made physical, actually create energetic pathways through which spirits can travel and communicate. They are conductors of spiritual energy, tangible evidence of the connection that remains unbroken despite physical separation. It is through this bridge of longing that we can hear their silent voices and feel their continued presence in our lives. This revelation invites a profound mindset shift in how we view our emotional responses to loss. What if our culture's rush to move on and stop crying actually interrupts a sacred process of spiritual communion? What if those tears serve a higher purpose in the cosmic architecture of connection? The impact of these experiences extends far beyond personal comfort. When we share these dream encounters with others, we participate in a powerful collective witnessing. By speaking our truth about these experiences, often, despite fear of judgment or disbelief, we help others recognize similar encounters in their own lives that they might have dismissed or doubted. This sharing becomes a sacred act of service, helping rebuild together the certainty that consciousness continues beyond the physical form. In cultures less dominated by materialist worldviews, these experiences aren't hidden away as private delusions, but celebrated as natural aspects of the human journey through grief and connection. The courage to share your experiences creates ripples of permission and validation for others on similar paths. If you've ever had a dream that felt like a final farewell from someone you've lost, write peaceful goodbye in the comments below. The intensity of these dream encounters often creates a profound longing upon waking, a desire to immediately return to sleep, to recapture that precious connection we just experienced. Many describe the sensation as feeling almost physically pulled back toward that sacred meeting place where boundaries between worlds momentarily dissolved. This yearning reveals something fundamental about the human spirit's capacity to recognize and seek authentic connection beyond physical limitations. Yet one of the most significant revelations about these experiences is that they operate according to cosmic principles beyond our personal control. Though our desire to reconnect is valid and natural, these encounters don't manifest solely through our individual will or determination. They unfold according to higher laws governing interdimensional communication, laws based on love, divine timing, and spiritual balance. This understanding invites a profound surrender to a greater wisdom that orchestrates these reunions with perfect timing for all souls involved. Behind the scenes of these spiritual connections lies an intricate ecosystem of energetic factors, the spiritual development of both parties, the purpose the encounter might serve in each soul's journey, and the ripple effects such meetings create across both dimensions. Accepting this cosmic choreography doesn't diminish our connection, but places it within a framework of sacred purpose and divine organization. A transformative insight emerges when we recognize that profound communication extends far beyond verbal exchange. Not all spiritual reunions in dreams bring conversations or explicit messages. Sometimes there is only presence, a lingering look that conveys volumes, a familiar landscape, shared in silence, or simply an enveloping feeling of peace that permeates your entire being. These wordless encounters carry their own profound power and purpose. The silent presence of a beloved spirit communicates on levels deeper than language could reach. I am with you, even when you cannot see me. Our connection transcends physical presence. Love continues unbroken. This silent communion often brings a distinctive calm to the heart, a settling of anxious questions and a quieting of grief's more turbulent waters. The revelation here lies in recognizing that presence itself is a form of communication, sometimes more powerful than any words could be. The pattern of dream visitations can also carry significant meaning. Some people experience repeated dreams of the same spirit over months or years, a persistent connection that seems to transcend random occurrence. This pattern often indicates either an exceptionally strong soul bond that continues to seek expression or, in many cases, a shared spiritual task or mission that remains unfinished or unacknowledged. These recurring dream visits deserve special attention in your spiritual journey. They represent an insistence from beyond, a gentle but persistent knocking on the door of your consciousness. In these cases, the path forward involves creating deliberate space for reflection, prayer, and intuitive listening. The spirit's repeated appearance suggests something important remains to be understood, recognized, or accomplished between you. This journey of discernment becomes itself a profound spiritual practice, an opportunity to develop your capacity to perceive and interpret the subtle language of interdimensional communication. If you've experienced recurring dreams of the same loved one who has passed, share your experience by writing "They keep returning" in the comments below. One of the most fascinating revelations about these dream encounters involves the nature of time itself. The way we experience time in the spiritual realm operates according to entirely different principles than our linear, clock-bound existence in the physical world. What might register as just a few brief minutes in our earthly measurement can unfold as rich, extensive experiences in the spiritual dimension, containing conversations, journeys, and emotional exchanges that would seem impossible to fit within such a compressed time frame. Edgar Cayce shared this profound insight based on countless documented cases. We often participate in what amount to hours-long meetings during what our physical bodies register as just a simple night's sleep. This revelation illuminates a hidden truth about consciousness, that it exists beyond the constraints of time as we understand it. When freed from physical limitations during sleep, our souls operate in a realm where meaning and connection take precedence over minutes and seconds. This dimensional perspective helps explain why these dream encounters often feel so complete, so saturated with significance despite their apparent brevity. The fullness you experience isn't imagination, but a glimpse of how consciousness operates in its more natural state, unbounded by physical constraints, a preview of the greater reality awaiting all of us beyond this temporary physical existence. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by acknowledging something many spiritual teachers hesitate to discuss. Not all dreams with the deceased bring immediate comfort or peace. Some of these encounters leave us feeling restless, strange, or even filled with anguish upon waking. These more challenging dreams often catch us by surprise, contradicting our expectation that connections with loved ones who have passed should feel uniformly loving and peaceful. This discomfort typically arises when there are unresolved conflicts between souls, lingering guilt on either side, or important pending emotional or spiritual issues that remain unaddressed. Rather than being failures or false encounters, these more difficult dream experiences represent something profoundly important. They are doorways to deeper healing that wouldn't be possible without this honest confrontation with what remains unresolved between you. The spiritual journey doesn't bypass our emotional wounds or difficult truths. It leads us directly through them toward authentic transformation. Even the most challenging dream encounter with someone who has passed serves as an invitation to healing. It creates a sacred opportunity to address what might otherwise remain buried and unhealed, allowing both souls to eventually move forward with greater freedom and peace. The most compelling evidence of authentic spiritual connection often appears in the aftermath of these dream encounters. Many report a distinctive shift in their inner landscape after such experiences. They begin to see life with more lightness, as if a heavy burden has been gently lifted from their shoulders. The sharp, jagged edges of grief soften, and the pain of absence gradually eases without diminishing the love that remains. This transformation represents the impact of genuine spiritual exchange. When the presence of your loved one has truly touched your soul across dimensions, something fundamental shifts in your being. It's not that the loss disappears, but rather that it's held within a much larger context of continuing connection and eventual reunion. If you've experienced this profound sense of lightness or relief after dreaming of someone who has passed, share your journey by writing "burden lifted" in the comments below. There exists a profound yet often overlooked quality in how the spiritual realm initiates contact with us. Unlike our modern world's constant barrage of notifications, alerts, and demands for attention, the spiritual dimension approaches with an almost invisible delicacy, not with fanfare or spectacle, but with gentle subtlety, like a whisper carried on the wind or the soft touch of a feather against skin. These connections honor our free will and emotional readiness through their gentleness. Dreams represent perhaps the most elegant expression of this loving approach, a silent language that speaks directly to our deepest selves without demanding immediate recognition or response. This subtlety isn't weakness or hesitation from the spiritual realm. Rather, it reflects a profound respect for our journey and an understanding that the most transformative connections often arrive with quietness that invites rather than imposes. This gentle approach requires from us a corresponding sensitivity, a willingness to attune ourselves to frequencies easily missed in our high-speed, high-volume daily existence. The most profound revelations about existence rarely announce themselves with trumpets and light shows. They slip quietly through the cracks in our awareness, waiting patiently to be noticed by hearts prepared to receive them. Edgar Cayce shared a revolutionary understanding about this process of spiritual connection that has transformed countless lives. He taught that the heart, not merely the physical organ, but the spiritual center of our being, serves as the greatest portal between dimensions. This teaching invites a profound paradigm shift in how we conceptualize spiritual connection, moving beyond intellectual frameworks into embodied wisdom. The condition of this heart portal directly impacts its capacity to function as a bridge between worlds. Purer, more loving, and more devoid of selfishness it becomes, the greater its ability to reach across dimensions and connect with those who have departed. This principle unveils a hidden truth about spiritual development, that our capacity for authentic connection expands in direct proportion to our heart's evolution toward unconditional love. This understanding illuminates why some people experience these connections more readily than others. It's not about psychic gifts or special abilities, but about the journey of the heart toward greater openness, authenticity, and freedom from self-centered concerns. The development of this heart portal becomes a central focus in genuine spiritual maturation across traditions. Those who cultivate a practice of prayer before sleeping participate in a sacred technology that has been recognized across spiritual traditions for millennia. This deliberate preparation of consciousness creates optimal conditions for elevated experiences during dream states. Far from being mere wishful thinking or psychological comfort, authentic prayer generates tangible energetic effects, creating what mystics have described as a bridge of light between dimensions. This luminous bridge serves multiple spiritual functions. It provides a protected pathway for beloved spirits to approach. It elevates your own vibrational frequency to more closely align with spiritual realms. And it creates a cocoon of spiritual protection that ensures these encounters unfold with safety and divine guidance. If you've noticed that your most meaningful spiritual dreams tend to occur after evenings of heartfelt prayer or meditation, share your experience by writing "Prayer Bridge" in the comments below. The profound impact of these dream connections reveals itself perhaps most powerfully in specific relationships that have been severed by death before their natural conclusion. How many parents have found themselves dreaming of children who departed far too early, their developing lives suddenly interrupted? How many spouses have glimpsed their beloved partners in dreamscapes after losing them to illness or accident? These dreams hold particular significance in the spiritual journey through grief. What makes these encounters so transformative is that they aren't merely psychological coping mechanisms, as some might suggest. According to Edgar Cayce's insights, they represent authentic reunions, carefully prepared by spiritual mentors who understand the unique healing these connections can provide. The desperation of a mother's heart to know her child continues to exist and thrive, the longing of a spouse to feel their partner's presence once more. These profound human needs are recognized and honored by the spiritual realm. When these sacred meetings occur, something remarkable often follows. The sharp despair that characterized early grief begins to soften. The unanswerable questions that tormented the mind start to quiet. A profound shift occurs, not an erasure of loss, but a transformation of it. Pain slowly gives way to a quieter peace. Despair gradually yields to a tentative faith in continuing bonds of love that transcend physical death. The journey through these dream encounters sometimes includes experiences that might be described as spiritual tests or growth opportunities. The dreaming soul may find itself led through symbolic scenarios where choices must be made, insights gained, or understandings deepened. In these dreamscape journeys, the departed loved ones sometimes appear not primarily for reunion, but as guides or witnesses, observing our spiritual development and offering silent support as we navigate important soul lessons. These dream experiences reveal a hidden truth about the architecture of consciousness, that spiritual growth continues for all souls, whether embodied or not, and that we remain connected to each other through this ongoing evolution. The decisions we make in these symbolic dream scenarios often carry significance that ripples through our waking life, influencing our path in subtle but profound ways. Perhaps the most revolutionary revelation in all of this is that we are never truly abandoned by the spiritual dimension, even in our darkest hours of grief and questioning. Even when we feel most alone, we remain surrounded by vibrations of love and support that exist beyond our physical senses. Dreams of those who have crossed over serve as gentle reminders of this continuous connection, like a wink from the invisible realm. A silent "I'm still here" that requires no words or physical proof. These dreams become bridges between dimensions, sacred messengers reminding us that love itself is not contained by physical bodies or limited by time, They offer glimpses into a greater reality where connection continues in forms we're only beginning to understand. The impact of recognizing these experiences as authentic can transform not just our experience of grief, but our entire understanding of what it means to be human, to love, and to continue loving beyond the threshold of physical death. If these experiences have brought you comfort during your darkest hours of grief, share by writing "Love Continues" in the comments below. Some approach these profound experiences with understandable skepticism or even fear. Our culture often conditions us to view anything beyond the material world as somehow frightening or threatening, as if communication from beyond physical life must inherently be something to dread. Edgar Cayce addressed this misconception directly through his extensive research and documentation of these dream encounters. He emphasized a fundamental truth that transforms how we perceive these experiences. A spirit that genuinely loves you does not come to frighten you. A soul that cares for your well-being does not visit to disturb your peace. The fear we sometimes associate with these connections stems not from the encounters themselves, but from our own misunderstanding of their nature and purpose. When we interpret these experiences through a lens of love rather than fear, their true character becomes clear. This perspective invites a profound shift in mindset, from viewing the afterlife as something alien and potentially threatening to recognizing it as a continuation of the same love that connected us in physical life. The journey of overcoming fear-based interpretations represents one of the most significant transformations many experience as they open to these encounters. When the presence in your dream feels serene, loving, and brings a sense of peace, there is nothing to fear. You are experiencing the natural continuation of a bond that death could not sever. If the encounter brings some discomfort, this typically indicates not danger, but rather an opportunity for healing or growth that requires your attention. Perhaps a need for forgiveness, reconciliation, or simply honest acknowledgement of unresolved emotions. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the landscapes and settings where these dream reunions often occur. Many people report meeting their departed loved ones in specific recurring environments. Beautiful gardens bursting with flowers more vibrant than any on earth, peaceful meadows bathed in gentle light, familiar homes from childhood, or serene bodies of water that seem to radiate tranquility. These settings aren't random or meaningless backgrounds. They represent spiritual environments that hold significant meaning for the souls involved. They often serve as neutral meeting grounds, sacred spaces where spirits from different dimensions can gather safely. Some represent actual locations in spiritual realms, while others are symbolic representations created to provide comfort and recognition for both parties. These recurring dreamscapes become familiar territory over time, places where the soul feels safe, recognized, and at home. They serve as anchors in the vastness of spiritual experience, providing a sense of continuity and familiarity across multiple dream encounters. The specifics of these environments often carry symbolic significance unique to your relationship with the departed soul. Visual metaphors that communicate on levels beyond words. If you've noticed that your dream encounters with loved ones who have passed tend to occur in the same beautiful or meaningful location repeatedly, share your experience by writing "sacred meeting" place in the comments below. Another fascinating aspect of these dream encounters involves the appearance of those who have crossed over. Many people report seeing their departed loved ones looking noticeably different than they did in their final days, often appearing younger, healthier, more vibrant, and radiantly happy. This consistent pattern across countless documented experiences reveals a profound truth about spiritual existence that Edgar Cayce emphasized throughout his work. In the spiritual plane, Souls present themselves not as they were physically at the moment of transition, but as they feel in their essential nature. They are no longer bound by the limitations, illnesses, or aging processes that affected their physical bodies. Instead, their appearance reflects their spiritual evolution, emotional state, and how they perceive themselves in their truest form. This revelation offers extraordinary comfort to those whose last memories of loved ones might involve suffering, illness, or physical diminishment. If you've seen someone in your dreams looking more beautiful, radiant, or at peace than when they departed, this isn't your imagination creating a comforting fantasy. It's a glimpse of their actual spiritual reality. It's a profound sign of their healing, evolution, and continued growth beyond physical limitations. These transformed appearances serve as visual testimony to one of the greatest spiritual truths, that what we experience as death is actually a liberation from physical constraints and a return to our more essential spiritual nature. The body's difficulties do not follow the soul into the next dimension of existence. What remains is the essence, often appearing in its prime, filled with the energy and vitality that most authentically expresses who they are. What's happening in these moments is a profound unveiling. You're being granted a glimpse of your loved one as they truly exist now, not as they appeared in their final, physical days. These images are divine gifts that help replace painful final memories with more accurate visions of their current reality. The transformation you witness represents not just their healing, but an invitation to your own, an opportunity to release the images of suffering and embrace the truth of continuing life and wholeness. The journey of understanding these dream encounters often leads to profound perspective shifts about existence itself. What we perceive as solid reality, our physical bodies, material possessions, worldly accomplishments, begins to be recognized as temporary vehicles for something far more enduring. Consciousness itself, love itself, the essence that continues beyond physical form. These dreams invite us to expand our understanding of identity beyond the physical body, to recognize the eternal aspects of ourselves and those we love. They challenge the materialist worldview that dominates much of modern culture, offering direct experiential evidence that consciousness continues in meaningful ways beyond physical death. This doesn't require blind faith or abstract theological arguments, just honest attention to these profound dream encounters that millions have experienced across cultures and throughout human history. If you've seen someone you love appearing younger, healthier, or more radiant in your dreams than they were at the end of their physical life, share your experience by writing "Radiant Transformation" in the comments below. Edgar Cayce's personal experiences with dream visitations reveal another dimension to these spiritual connections. Throughout his life, he was visited by numerous spirits in the dream state, including his spiritual guide Emmanuel, who appeared not as a distant authority, but as both master and friend. These weren't merely personal reunions, but served a profound purpose, transmitting teachings that Cayce would later document in books and letters that have guided countless seekers on their spiritual journeys. This pattern in Cayce's life unveils a hidden truth about these dream encounters. They serve not only as personal comfort, but often as instruments of spiritual instruction and collaborative work that transcends dimensions. The veil between worlds becomes permeable not just for emotional healing, but for the continuation of meaningful spiritual collaboration that serves a greater purpose in the divine plan. Behind the scenes of these encounters lies an intricate spiritual ecosystem where souls continue to work together across dimensions, sharing wisdom, supporting growth, and participating in each other's evolution, even when separated by what we perceive as death. This understanding transforms how we might approach these experiences, not just as passive recipients of comfort, but as active participants in ongoing spiritual work. Not all dream visits bring peaceful, joyful encounters. Sometimes the departed soul appears troubled or in pain, an experience that can be distressing for the dreamer but carries profound significance. When a deceased loved one manifests in this way, they may be seeking assistance that you are uniquely positioned to provide. The spiritual bond between you creates a channel through which your support can flow. A thought directed their way, a candle lit in remembrance, or a heartfelt prayer can serve as genuine balm for their continuing journey. This reveals a revolutionary perspective on these dream connections. They represent not just consolation for the living, but also responsibility and opportunity. They offer a sacred chance to return love with charity, to continue participating in the relationship through service rather than just memory. The revelation here is that love continues as an active force between souls, not merely as a fading echo of what once was. When a beloved spirit appears in your dreams but remains silent, pay particular attention to their eyes. In these sacred encounters, eyes communicate what words cannot. They ask, they thank, they welcome, and sometimes they simply plead, "Don't forget me." The eyes serve as windows between souls, conveying volumes of meaning that transcend linguistic limitations. This silent communication often carries the most profound messages, unfiltered by the imprecision of language. This understanding illuminates a spiritual truth that resonates across traditions. Forgetting is itself a form of death, while remembrance is a form of life. When we actively remember those who have passed, not just with grief but with love, gratitude, and continued connection, we participate in keeping their essence alive in light. The decision to maintain this active remembrance represents a powerful affirmation of the eternal nature of spiritual bonds. The practice of praying for those who have departed serves a dual purpose in this cosmic dance of continuing connection. It sends tangible spiritual support to aid their ongoing journey while simultaneously keeping the channel of communication open between your souls. When you dream of them in return, you're receiving a visit, a divine permission for your longing to transform, even momentarily, into presence. If you felt that prayers for your loved ones strengthen your connection with them, write "Prayer Bridge" in the comments below. As we draw our conversation to a close, I'm struck by how these dream experiences reveal something profound about the nature of existence itself. That love creates bridges where physical eyes see only endings. What we've explored together isn't just spiritual theory, but lived experience for countless souls across human history, including many of you watching right now. If these insights have illuminated your own dream encounters or brought comfort to your journey with grief, I'd love for you to become part of our spiritual family here. Subscribe to join us on this continuing exploration of the invisible threads that connect our reality to realms beyond physical perception. Each week, we delve into these sacred mysteries together, uncovering wisdom that transforms not just what we believe, but how we live. The conversation we've shared today isn't complete without your voice. If something in this message resonated deeply with you, leave the words "Souls Connected" in the comments below. Your experience matters, and sharing creates a tapestry of confirmation for others walking similar paths. That gentle nudge you feel to tap the like button. It's more than just supporting this video. It's a way of affirming that these conversations about what lies beyond the veil deserve space in our collective dialogue. Each like helps these insights reach someone who might be sitting alone tonight, wondering if their powerful dream experience was just imagination. There's a video waiting for you right here that explores what happens in the first moments after transition, the journey our loved ones experience as they cross the threshold between worlds. It complements perfectly what we've discussed today, Click and continue this spiritual journey with me there. Until we meet again in this space, or perhaps someday in dreams, remember, the love you've shared with those who have crossed over remains eternally alive, bridging worlds in ways we're only beginning to understand.